Give me a test.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna open with I'm gonna open with Deuteronomy 7 and 3. Khan, I don't want to. Yeah, Deuteronomy 7 and 3. We're gonna open with the law. We good? You see the delay? It's always that delay like that. Who was we talking about that the other day, right?
Yeah, we was.
Yeah, it's always that.
Yeah.
It sounds clear. Great. It's good seeing you, Adawan. Most High in Christ. We can start? Most High in Christ. Shalom is will. Yahweh B'Shem Hawashai B'Rakathah to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Alathah B'Shem Hawashai to all the sisters. We are the I.S.U.P.K. out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. And our goal is to reunite our people with our scriptures, to teach our people the truth of the Bible, to unify our people as the nation of Israel, who we are by nature. Okay. And I'm officer of 50, Yanazar, of the Durham school here in Durham, North Carolina. And I'll be holding the class down until Officer of 1,000 Iraq comes and takes over. Okay, so today I'm going to get into a topic. I'm going to get into what we call interracial marriage. And, you know, part of the reason why I'm getting into this particular subject matter is because I don't like, you know, what's going on with our women, you know, with our men either for the most part, but particularly, man, it hurts me to see our women being destroyed that the way they are. And I just want to say before I proceed, our women are good and great, man. We have the best women. They're fine. They're divine, man. And there's no better women on this earth than blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian women. They are the best. God, the Most High, called you the best. You're the best. You understand? Because the Most High said so. And so one of the things that they're trying to do in society today is to, you know, separate the black man and the black woman, the Hispanic man, the Hispanic woman, the Native Indian woman, and the Native Indian man. And on those reservations, I looked it up. There's so many sisters missing off of those reservations due to kidnappings. All kind of things are going on those reservations that is not being reported. You know, so I'm going to speak on some of those things tonight, time willing. But I'm definitely want to get into interracial marriage because we are the best. We deserve the best, meaning that we deserve each other. We deserve each other. We don't need these heathen nations. Right. We don't need to marry them. We don't need to love them. We love ourselves. Right. There's nothing wrong with you, black woman. There's nothing wrong with you, black man, that cannot be set correct, that could not be corrected. And the way that you correct it is coming to the I.S.U.P.K. Learn these scriptures. Learn your culture. Learn the rules. the law, statutes, and commandments that will make you into the person that the Most High wants you to be. That's why he gave us these laws, statutes, and commandments, because he wanted us to be a particular way. And he gave us a culture. He gave us a heritage. It's not like these other nations that just made up their own heritage as they went along. The Most High gave us a heritage. That's right. And within that heritage, it's based on a law. You understand? And my topic, as I said before, is Salakia, interracial marriage. Interracial marriage. Okay, and I'm going to show you that this is a law in the Bible for us. You understand? I don't care. These other heathen nations, they could marry who the hell they want to marry. Right. They could marry anybody that they want. But you, Israel, you're only supposed to marry within the 12 tribes. That's it. Man, we got a lot of, if you look at the 12 tribes and you'll see all the variety that we have, man, there's nothing better, brother. Right. There's nothing better, sister. That's the truth, man. That's right. Okay, so, and let me have the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 3.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter thou shalt take unto thy son.
So here, and if you go up a couple of verses, you'll see that he's talking about these heathen nations. So he's telling us here in this verse that we are not supposed to marry those nations. We're not supposed to marry outside. This is a law. This is the book of Deuteronomy. This is a law. You understand? And the laws that were given to us because they were beneficial to us staying strong and staying together. You understand? So this is a law that prevents us from marrying other nations because the other nations are going to weaken us. And this is exactly what happened. Right. This right here, in my understanding, when we turned our backs on the Most High power, this was the beginning of it. When we began to intermarry with the heathen nations, with the other nations. So that was the beginning of our downfall. Right. Okay, so, and now I'm going to get into where, let me have Genesis 6, chapter 2 and 3. I'm going to get into the ramifications or the evilness or the severity of breaking this law. Because the Most High, which I'm about to show you, flooded the whole entire earth, or that whole area of the earth, whichever way you want to look at it, and left only 8 people alive because of interracial marriage. Right. And I'm going to prove it to you. I have several scriptures here, and I'm going to show you the grievousness of this crime and how it destroys our people until this day. It happened back then, happened several times, which we're going to go into. You understand? But we're going to start today with the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 2. Read, brother.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 2. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
So here it is. He's saying that the sons are the children which you are. This is the same bloodline of people that the Israelites ultimately came from. This is the same bloodline. Matter of fact, this whole Bible is about one bloodline, from Adam to Jacob and from the 12 tribes to now. That's what this whole Bible is about. But here it's saying that the children of God began to marry the other nations. This is what it's talking about. Read on.
And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. yet his days shall be 120 years.
Now, prior to this, according to the Bible, people were living hundreds of years. But because the people of the Most High, or the sons of God, which are our ancestors, our progenitor, began to marry the other nations, not only did he flood the earth, but he also cut our lives shorter. Okay, and if that's not, I got plenty more proof. If you don't believe it, you can take that for what it is. Right. But I got more proof. Let's go to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, verse 23.
Con 13:23.
Con.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, and verse 23. In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab.
Okay, here we are. Another instance where we're beginning to marry the other nations. Even though I just read you in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 3, that this law was in effect from the time of Moses and even before Moses. But we're not going to even get into that. But this was a law. So we're going to begin to read about the ramifications or the results of what happens to Israel when we break this law. What happens to us? Read on, brother.
Con on one con. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language.
There it is. That's the beginning. We just warming up. So what he's saying, what the Bible is saying, is that here's these Jews marrying these other nations. And I'm going to use myself as an example. So let's say I married a Moabite, or what we call today a Chinese woman.
Right.
And I go out, she's home doing what she's supposed to do. And I'm out working, trying to earn to take care of my family. She's there with my child, with my son. What is she going to teach him? She's going to teach him what she knows of her culture. Right. This is what this is talking about. And here is saying that the children of these so-called mixed marriages, these unlawful mixed marriages, the mothers are teaching them their language, and they're not even speaking their own native language, which is Hebrew.
That's right.
That's just the beginning. So this is going to bring confusion. The loyalty between the child is going to be confused because his mother teaching him one thing and his father trying to teach him another. This is the beginning of the division and the destruction of our people. Yes. You understand? If you start destroying the children, the mindset of the children, that's the beginning. That means when they grow up, that's when the confusion is going to spread, because they're going to say, well, gosh, my mom is Chinese. They must be all right. My mom, she taught me good. Right. You understand? They're not going to say, hey, man, I'm an Israelite and I ain't learning this. Right. I'm an Israelite and I'm not learning that. I'm just going to stick to my culture. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to be divided in their loyalties. That's what it's talking about here. Read on, my brother.
Read from the top. The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, verse 24. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people.
Whoever we marry, our children began to learn their languages. And this was the beginning of our downfall again. Read verse 25.
Verse 25. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, Yea, shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves.
So if I made it, this is the prophet once again. He's pronouncing punishment on Israel. The women's hair, you understand, which is among black women, Hispanic women, Native Indian women, the hair is their crown, their joy. You understand? So he's saying that, and once this prophet pronounces this punishment, the Most High is going to make it happen. Right. Because he's a representative of the Most High. So these things began to happen. The their hair didn't grow like it used to. These are the punishment. and certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by God, ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons. So here, Salakia, unto your sons, or for yourself. So here he's reiterating the law. He's restating the law. This is the law. Read 26.
Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nonetheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin.
Outlandish women. Now we all know, or most of us know, the story of Solomon, our great king. You understand? This was Israel at the pinnacle of its power. And this man, Solomon, he was given everything by the Most High. But this law included him as well. And what he did, I think he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. That's 1,000 women. You understand? And so, but these women, it's not the amount that counts, because you can have as many wives as you want, quiet as kept, for those who don't know. But the point is that Solomon, those wives were princesses and women from the other nations. And if you read Solomon or the book of Kings, you see that those women caused Solomon to break the law. He began to build temples for these women, for the gods of these other nations. He was financing projects for them, you understand, which is against the law. You understand? So I'm just giving you this example as the greatest man, one of the greatest men among us, Solomon, King Solomon, fell for this too, fell into this. And this was the beginning of the split of Israel between the northern and southern kingdom. Happened after this, after Solomon began to take on the customs of these foreign wives that he had married. Right. And this is the point. I'm going to show you more evidence that interracial marriage is wrong and the results of it. You know, you could say, hey, you know, one of my relatives said to me, well, you could love anybody you want. You can't help who you love. That's not true.
That's right.
That's a lie. You can help who you love. That's right. You know, because you're a human being. You are a child of God. That's right. You have intelligence. You understand? You have the discernment. You understand? And once you're in the culture, like we have in the I.S.U.P.K, you come into this I.S.U.P.K, you ain't gonna want you're not gonna want to marry anybody outside your race, because you're gonna learn to love yours above all others. Right. And that's the most important thing, that we have to love each other. That was our destruction. When we were in slavery here, what did they do? They taught us to hate each other. The Willie Lynch letter. They taught the light-skinned one to hate the dark-skinned one. Right. They taught the one with the coolie hair, the good hair, or the mixed one to hate the one with the woolly hair. Mm-hmm. They taught the young to hate the old to hate the young. This is what they taught us for over 300 years. Right. And what's happening to us today is the result. You understand? Okay, so let's get back to the topic. Yeah, Khan,
the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 27. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God in marrying strange wives?
Read that part again.
Khan, shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God in marrying strange wives?
See, this is a great evil, man. You know, if you believe in this God, in this Bible, you know, this is what it is saying. This is the truth, man. Because if you look at our people today, those aren't, and look at in interracial marriages, like the confusion is there. The split, the loyalty split is there. You understand? The destruction. Like, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm a NFL football player, or my brother Kawal, we both NFL football players. And so like I didn't mention my brother Kawal is holding it down with me. So, and both of us, we marry women outside. It doesn't matter our nation. And then something happened to us and we perish, what's going to happen to our wealth? The wealth is not going to go into our community to our sons. No. The wealth is going to go to the sons that I have with that woman and to her community. Right. Because she's going back to her community with that wealth. Right. And this happens over and over again. It happens every single day in our society. And I'm going to show you that in the scriptures as well, where our wealthy men and our powerful men were the ones who started all of this, and they started the destruction of this. We finished with that? Let me have in you got the Apocrypha. You got the Apocrypha. Let me have in the Apocrypha, First Ezra 8 and 70. When you get this, I'm going to show you, just like today, when you see all of these powerful men, black men, when they get a high position, what they do, they go get them a heathen wife. You understand? Because they've been preconditioned to do that, because they've been made to think that that heathen wife is better than his woman because of the struggle that we're in together. So he doesn't want to struggle with his woman. He wants to make it. He wants to take the easy route with what he perceives as a better woman. And he selects her over his own woman, who in reality is the best. So I'm going to show you in the scriptures where this has happened many times in the past, but it started with what we call our great men. You got that other one? If you could read it, please.
It's the book of First Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 70. It's an Apocrypha. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity.
Okay. I'm going to have you read that again in just a second, but I'm going to try to break it down to you. What he's talking about here is that this is the beginning. We're doing it again. You know, time after time, we're starting to interracially marry again. But what it says at the end of the verse, towards the end of the verse, is that our great men and our leaders, just like today, our politicians, right, our pastors, right, our basketball players, right, our football players, these are perceived as our great men today. And they're doing the exact same thing that they were doing back during these times. You understand? This is a crime that was repeated. And this, I'm going to show you again, was the destruction of our people in so many different ways that I don't even have time to get into them all tonight. But I'm going to say this: to marry outside of our nation is the destruction of our nation. That's right. The only reason why, well, not the only reason, one of the reasons why we're still a nation is because the Most High made a law that we're counted for seed, right, meaning that we counted for whoever your father is, from your father's side. If that law wasn't in effect, we would have been destroyed and we would have never been able to recover. Right. We would have never been able to recover because we would have never known who we were. How could we tell Salakia who we were if we didn't have these laws, statutes, and commandments and these records? Right. We wouldn't have been able to do it. So that's another way how important it is to stick to our own kind. Let me have, what is it? No, read that again from the top.
This is the book of First Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 70. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity.
Okay, they began to mix with the strange people of the land, and the rulers and the great men were the ones who started this. That's right. And they were the ones who, hey, man, I got this position. Man, shit, these Israelite women, man, they on another, I'm going to get me one of them heathens because they do different things. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they began to do. They began to marry these other women. You understand what I'm saying? And then some of our women didn't have husbands. Right. So they began to marry other heathens. You understand? It's a mess. Right. That's exactly what it is. It's a mess. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So it took these prophets hard work and prayers calling on the Most High to try to keep us as a nation despite this. That's why it's called a crime. It's called what is it called again? Evil iniquity, man. That means it's a wicked thing to do because thou art an holy people. Let's go to Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people. Listen to this. This is bedrock scripture right here. This is the foundation of everything right here. To understand it, you have to understand this if you're to understand our plight. You got something? Go ahead.
That's how you bring it up too. Because, even like you were saying earlier, you mirror these heathen women, and imagine it being a child being brought up in their home, the father's away. What the hell you think the wife is going to be teaching them? She don't even know the culture of the Israelites to be teaching it to him.
That's right.
So she's going to be teaching him all kind of, mumbo jumbo, all worshiping other gods, all this, crystals and tarot cards and ancient Chinese samurai, whatever the hell culture she comes from. She's going to be teaching that child the things of these heathen nations and not the things of the Most High, because she don't even know the things of the Most High. The things of the Most High for us, the real Jews. What the hell does she know? She's a heathen. She don't know anything to teach this child, And
as we know, the things that we're given, the culture that we're given, and the loss is precious, man. Right. You understand? It's more precious than anything these other nations have. That's right. Imagine that. The Most High Power gave us a heritage or a culture, man. So what culture gonna be better than that? Right. Just use common sense. What culture is better than the culture that the Most High gives to his chosen people, the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, so-called Native Indians, so-called Hispanics, so-called blacks, who are in reality Israelites. That's who we are. You understand? And in order for us to come back to the Most High, we have to learn these laws, and we have to perform these laws. You understand? Meaning that we have to live these laws. You understand? We cannot marry these heathen. Read that, brother.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above all people. The Most High chose us above all people on the face of the earth. The Most High, like they look at us now, they call us spicks, wetbacks, all these names, these bywords that they call us, niggas. They call us all these names, man. When in reality, man, you think the Most High going to pick the worst people? Think about it. Who is the Most High going to pick? He wants the best. So he picked the best. But because we went and turned our backs on our power, our Father, you understand, the Most High God who created the heavens and the earth. We turned our backs on him and started following these heathens and marrying them. Right. Following them, the beginning of following them is to marrying them. That's then you wind up worshiping their gods. That's right. And then you wind up financing temples and stuff for them. You understand? And praying to their gods. You understand? Because you love that woman or you love that man more than you love your people. That in itself is a sin. For you to love another nation more than you love your own people is a damn sin for Israel. You have to love yourselves, man. Right. We have to love our people above all other people because the Most High loved us above all other people. Right. You understand? And when the Most High speak, it's a law, really. Anything he says is really lawful because it's going to come to pass. Everything that he said to us has come to pass. And the proof of that is simply Deuteronomy chapter 28 from verse 15 to verse 68. Right. We're not waiting for any of that stuff to happen because most of it is all of it has already happened and is happening right now. Everything in Deuteronomy chapter 28 from verse 15 on up to verse 68 has already happened to us. We don't have to wait for it to happen. That's proof. That's evident proof beyond any reasonable doubt that this has. Read those scriptures and find me one thing, one that hasn't happened to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
That's right.
You can never do it, but try it. Don't take my word for it. Read it for yourselves. Okay, so we've suffered these crimes. We're under these punishments. And the only way to get out of this situation is return to the Most High. And the only way to do that is to come into the I.S.U.P.K.
That's right.
That's the only way. One body. It ain't no 100,000 different doctrines being taught out here. It's one doctrine that leads to the straight path. One. And this is the doctrine that is taught in the I.S.U.P.K. The Most High in Christ. The Most High, then Christ, then man, then woman. That's the order that the Most High set on this earth. Right. And it's not going to change. It's going to be reestablished forever upon Christ's return. Okay, bro. I'm going to show you something else. Let me have Exodus 34, 14 through 16.
Sir, 34. You said chapter 13?
Salakia, it's chapter 34, verse 14.
34, Salakia.
Because these laws are forever. Nobody can cancel them. Christ didn't cancel them. These laws are forever. Right. Israel is forever. That's right. But we have to live up to who we're supposed to be. You understand? You got it?
Khan, sir. This is the book of Genesis.
No,
Exodus. Salakia. Damn it. Popped up. 34, 6,
14.
34 and 14. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 14. For thou shalt worship no other God. The Lord, for the Lord whose name is jealous, is a jealous God.
See that? The Lord is jealous. Let me try to explain that to you. He's not jealous in terms of there's somebody else in competition with him. That's not what it means. Right. It's not another God in reality that the Most High is jealous of. What it is that he's a father, and he hates that he done all of this for us. He molded us. He made us the greatest people on the earth. And he doesn't want some fake made up idol God or anybody else to get credit for that. Right. That's what he's talking about. He's not jealous like you're jealous of of another man or another woman. It's not talking about that. The Most High wants credit because credit is given where credit is due. He wants the credit for the great things that he's done for Israel. You understand? That's what it's talking about. Right. Read on, brother.
Khan. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods.
Hold on. See that? When we make these agreements or covenants with these other nations, we wind up serving their gods. It happens all the time. It happened in our own land. It happened wherever we were. We wind up serving these other people's gods. That's what it's talking about here. But if we keep to our women, if we marry our beautiful women, you understand? When we're going to work and when we're in the fields or doing whatever we're doing, our women is going to teach our children our culture. And our children going to grow up strong, loving one another, loving our people, knowing who they are, knowing these laws from the time that they're young, and they'll grow up with it. And so there won't be no disputing about it. You understand? That's the crime of this what they call interracial marriage. That's the crime. It's the destruction of our people. It's the beginning of the destruction. It continues the destruction until this day. Right. You understand? Let me give you another example. Let me have the book of Judges, chapter 3, verses 5 and 7. You know, I can never emphasize enough to my people how wrong this is, because if you love another nation over your own nation, you're not in your right state of mind. It's
Right.
there's something wrong there. That's not natural. You understand? That's like a dog loving a cat. You understand? Or an eagle loving an ostrich. You understand? We're supposed to stick to our own kind by law. And it's very beneficial to us because when we stick to our kind and we follow the inheritance or the culture that the Most High give us, he fights our battles for us. We're blessed with riches. All of these things you can read in the scriptures. Right. Don't take my word for it. I can't pull all the scriptures, but you know they're there. Right. Just read. You got that, Adawan?
Con.
Read.
The book of Judges, chapter 3 and verse 5. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, and Amorites, and Perizzites, and Hivites, and Jebusites. Verse 6. And they took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and served their gods.
As they say, whoop, there it is. Again, this is another instance where our people, you ready, Adawan? This is another instance where our people married these nations that were around us. You understand? And began to serve their gods. And with that, I'm turning the class over to a powerful priest and prophet, Officer 1000 Iraq. Wow.
All right, no sweat. No sweat. All right. All right, everybody, give it up. Powerful priest, first time. Officer YAHANNA. YAHANNA in the house. Hey, we got yeah, let me get that too.
Let me get it cooked. You want ice?
No ice.
I got it.
Okay.
All right, tonight, this is let me get this off too. It's kind of yeah, you got a lot of people looking for any reason to come. Yeah. All right, the water. Appreciate it. Yum. All right, everybody. Any questions in the room? Online? All right, well, let's start off for the sake of time. Let's go to, if you could, get me Matthew chapter 19, verse 16.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 16. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life?
Read on.
Verse 17. And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good?
This is YAHANNA speaking, saying, Why callest me good? Read on.
There is none good but one, that is the Most High. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments.
Keep what?
The commandments.
Right here, your beloved King YAHANNA Mashiach in the Hebrew states to keep the commandments. Let's read that one more time from 17. Baba Kasha.
Khan one Khan, the book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 17. And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High.
So here you see that the Most High and Yahawashi are two separate entities, not one holy trinity where they are all one. All right. Out of Yahawashi's mouth. Read on.
Khan one Khan. But if thou wilt enter into life.
So if we will enter into life,
keep the commandments.
That we shall keep the commandments. This is Yahawashi. This is Jesus. Right? This is our personal Lord and Savior, as the Christians will say. Right. All right. Let's drop that. Get me John chapter 5, verse 45. Baba Kasha. What's going on here is that this Wednesday night law class, we emphasize various instances where we teach the law, or we show you where Christ kept the law, or stated for men to keep the law. And this is throughout the Bible. So you can't escape it and say, oh, that's the Old Testament. When the New Testament bears witness to the Old, they go hand in hand. It's one complete work, body of work. From the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, and the New. It's all one complete work. And you can't have one without the other. And the spokesman or the star of the New Testament, Jesus, or Yahawashi HaMashiach, speaks indefinitely and clearly and vehemently about keeping the law. Right. You have that for me?
Khan one Khan, sir. The book of John, chapter 5 and verse 45. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust.
Read on.
Khan.
Moses and the commandments that was given. Read on.
Khan. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me.
So again, Yahawashi is stating that if you had believed in Moses, then you also would have believed in him. That's another cut, Christian. Right. Okay. It's right there in the good book. All right. Mm-hmm. So we laying the groundwork for what we're about to go into today. If you could, Baba Kasha, let me get Leviticus chapter 11, verse 44. You know, there's what is it, Officer Yanazar? Is it 613 laws? Yeah, at least 613 laws that and if you consider the day-to-day and any loopholes that you could possibly have in a nation, it's fair. That's a fair amount of rules and regulations. If you've ever ran a company or had a business, you know, some of us have businesses and we have policy manuals, and it's basically things that we will do in case this happens, you know, stop gaps or procedures that we will take in the event of this situation. Right. For example, if my brother loaned me, you know, $100 and for whatever reason I never paid him back, he has up until 7 years to get that. After the 7 years, he had to let it go. It's like Teddy Pendergrass. He got to let it go. Yeah. So, yeah, old cats, man. But in any case, we have rules and we have laws that govern our nation. And if we work it like clockwork, we would be on top. You know, and that's what we emphasize here in this law class, is that, you know, why it's so imperative that you guys tune in, and also the people tuning in share this information and tell people to get into the I.S.U.P.K, get in these classes, is because we're not going to make that 144,000. We're not going to make it to where Yahawashi feels like, okay, everything is set up. Let's come down and clean house with the heathens until we wake up. We have to wake our people up. We have a job to do. It's not enough to be a sideline Hebrew, internet Hebrew, Twitter finger. Oh, Salaki. Oh, you twat. It's not enough to just so-called keep the law at home, or say you're just a good person, you believe in Jesus, and that's just them. You know, I separate myself from the wicked amongst our people. You have a job to get out in the street like these brothers in the I.S.U.P.K are doing. You know, it's not enough for us to keep the law and be decent Israelites or citizens and keep the law of the American society. It's not enough for us to just worship or praise or celebrate or honor or acknowledge the high holy days of the Bible and teach our family and do it at home and so-called fellowship with our neighbor. It's not enough for that, because that's soft, that's selfish, that's you keeping the truth to yourself.
Right.
You know, in the I.S.U.P.K, we love this truth so much. We love it so much that we don't send postcards and say, hey, come into the truth. You know what we do? Well, what they say? Cry aloud.
That's right.
Spare not, and show thy people that their transgression. You understand? That's what we do. We love you so much that we will we will change our worldly array and put on Israelite garments, right, looking as you say, Power Rangers, looking very peculiar and different. We will get out and put ourselves out there like that. Where, like we said in the scripture, the light will shine upon thee. Right. And that's what's happening. We're not ashamed to represent the law, statutes, and commandments. We keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and we teach men to do so. You understand? Do you have that for me? Let's get it.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 11, verse 45. For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. Ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy.
Again, the Most High is saying that we shall be holy. Right. Now, let me ask a question. Anybody in this room, outside of Officer Giannis or outside of Officer Koal, who could tell me what does the word holy mean? Young man in the front, next to the other young man. It means to what? It means separate. Right. Everybody get that brother a hand. Right. The word holy means separate. Some may say set apart, right? And when you're set apart, that means you're cut above the rest. You're not like the rest. You know what I mean? You're in a different category. You know what I mean? And so the Lord is saying that that's what we shall be. Read that again from the top, Baba Kashab.
Khan one Khan, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 11, verse 45. For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. Ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy.
That's 44. Let's go to 45.
That was 44. So I was 45. So I'll go
Let's
go
get
to 44.
46, 47. Let's get it all.
Khan one Khan. Did you want me to read? Oh, never mind. I got you. Yep. Khan one Khan, 46. This is the law of the beast and of the fowl and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth.
Now this is 46.
46.
Okay, Khan.
47 is what you want.
Yeah,
Khan one Khan, verse 47. To make a difference between unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten.
Now here, is that it on that?
That's it. That was 47. All
right. So here we have in Leviticus, the Lord has taken his dear time, right, to divide the beasts in which we're supposed to eat. He gives them a title, a label. He says clean and unclean. Now that never changes. That's right. Throughout this Bible, it never changes. You can't take something that was once unclean as far as what we eat and then change it to clean just because you've been listening to Reverend, what's his name? Backfoot, yeah, Reverend Pork Chop. Reverend Beat 'em Up Joe Brown. Mosaic, right. All right. So let me get Deuteronomy 14 and 8. We understand this. We talking about keeping the law. One of these laws, or a few of these laws, are addressing the diet. Right. You understand? So they say you are what you eat, right? So if you eat unclean, you're unclean. And there's a reason for that. Okay, and we'll get to that. Let's get it.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14 and verse 8. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud.
Now we talking about the swine, right? Better known as a pig or a hog or some type of wild boar in its earlier stages, right? Which is an animal that has a what do we call the animals that have a short stomach? I'm not sure. Their digestive system, they digest. I know pigs digest their food in 4 hours, and they comes out as pus in the hoof of their foot. They have a tube in which pus leaks out and droops. Right? They don't even stop to really poop. It just leaks out as some type of mucusy poop, some slimy goo that comes out of a pig hoof. And basically they are the cleaners of the earth, or such as most scavengers and janitorial, or what they call it now, the sanitation workers, basically sophisticated version of that, where they clean up the dead. They clean up the filth, the trash, the things that we don't want. Banana peelings or even a dead body, dead animal carcass. This is what pigs do. They have a natural desire for filth, fecal matter. They'll eat their young if necessary, and they're capable of doing. The Lord gave them this capability because there was a purpose. It serves a purpose. And one day, if it all goes to crap, the world, as far as people and humanity, they don't do their job. And there's, civilization. The maggots will always do their job. The pigs will always do their job. You understand? The vultures, the buzzards, the possums, they'll always do their job. The shrimp, the crab, the lobster, they will always do their job. If the garbage men did not, if you ever saw what was that movie with Will Smith when he was alone on a planet? I Am Legend. I Am Legend. And over time, everything kind of just went back to how, like, after humanity stopped, the trees grew up, the grass grew up, things went back to a natural ecosystem, and it never stopped. If you've ever been to a land where it's just grown up, or you've seen a house with a tree growing in it, the Lord has this thing on lock. This earth will never end, according to his word. It will always take care of itself. We do too much wickedness. That's why you have these tsunamis and all these the ozone layer being destroyed. But then the earth pays us back for those things, for those imbalances in the earth. And so when you read what was that, Deuteronomy? What was that, Leviticus? That was Deuteronomy. Yeah, when you read in Deuteronomy, is basically talking about how the swine is unclean. It's one of the major, it's the star of the unclean animals in the Bible. Let's read that. Let's keep on reading. Oh, go ahead.
No, that was a monogastric, was a pig's. They got the one stomach, and the cows have 4. They got a complex digestive system.
Okay.
And pigs don't have a complex digestive system. They only got one stomach, and they're like scavenger. And it's called a monogastric, system or something like that.
Okay. Most High Christ the water for that. And because of that, we'll get to why that's important. Read on.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, I read 8, verse 8. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud. It is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass.
Now let's drop that. No, don't drop it. Just hold for 1 second. Now, right here, it clearly says that the swine, the pig, is unclean. Unclean, totally, right? You shall not eat it. Why then in Greek and Roman civilization do they emphasize eating this abominable beast? Why then did they try to make the Maccabees, the Israelites at that time, they forced us to eat pork? They didn't force us to eat goat, lamb, chicken. They strategically, categorically picked out the one thing that they knew the Most High did not want us to partake in. They bribed us. They said, "Hey, I'll give you this, or you'll live your life, or we'll make you give you this position in our kingdom if you just eat pork." Right? And that wonderful family that stood their ground, those little boys, they upheld their honor to the Most High, and they did not partake, and they actually met their death for the sake of honoring the Most High, and their mother clapped and cheered them on. And that was one of the most beautiful stories out of the nation of Israel. These records. Yet we're so selfish and so inconsiderate. We don't consider what is it about the pig. Why is it there's such a fuss about pork?
Right.
Now, you may hear from our so-called neighboring cousins, the Ishmaelites, their religion, Islam. You know, that's one of the things they got from the Israelites, is to not eat swine. Even they knew, the people who worship the rock,
Right.
the Kaaba stone, they even know that the swine or the pig is unclean. Was that it on that?
It was on swine. Yes.
Yeah, that was it. 1 John chapter 3 and 4.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law.
So here, if we eat pork, we are sinning. We are transgressing the law. We are breaking the law. We are willingly, especially after this class today, if you continue to eat, you know, what's some pork special that they love to eat? They may not even consider it pork.
Oh,
pork chops. They got the word pork in it. Pig feet, fat back,
right.
Crackling, skins, souse, chitlins. But here's something that people may not know: pepperoni, right? And all the spam. There you go. Oh man, definitely spam, and so many other hidden names. Yeah, bacon. There you go. They have now what? Turkey bacon. They have vegan bacon. They have beef bacon. They have other alternatives. You do not have to subject yourself to sinning dietarily nowadays. There are options. You may just have to get acclimated to the taste. It may be a little different, but what's that versus sinning against the Most High? Now, again, you know, sinning is transgressing the law. If you could go to Deuteronomy 28:15. Yeah, gelatin. I think monosodium glutamate, glycerin. But you can look on the box, because a lot of so-called fake Jewish people have you know, volleyed for alternatives, pork alternatives. So you may see the letter K on a box of food, and that will stand for kosher on the corner of any box of food. You may see the U with a circle, which may stand for universal, which also could mean that it may have a product that is normally made with the pig, but could be made with beef. Marshmallows. Most marshmallows have swine, but there is. I found some kosher marshmallows, but it costs about $7-8. Yeah. You're gonna spend that grip. But for the most part, in the kosher section of grocery stores, they may have alternatives. Pop-Tarts. If you get the Pop-Tart with the glaze on it, that has swine. But the one that doesn't, the one that has no frosting, that does not have swine. I know. And like those Toastettes back in the day. I don't know if they know about that. Gummy bears, you know, the alternative to gummy bears may be Mott's fruit snacks. It's still not gooey like those gummy bears, but you know, it's a safe alternative. And ultimately, we as a nation, once we become in power, we can actually create our own foods without worrying about the implementation of the pork and unlawful things. Right. Hey, Janu, take him to the truck. Salaki about that. But okay, so where we at?
We at 28 and verse 15. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Okay, now this, if we will not hearken means to listen, right? To the voice of the Lord thy God. Read on.
To observe, to do all his commandments.
To observe and to do some of his commandments.
All his commandments.
To do half of the commandments.
All his commandments.
Do the commandments that we want to do.
All his commandments.
Oh, he said all?
All his commandments.
Most High in Christ. Read on.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Okay, so again, the Most High is pleading with us, letting us know that if we will not listen, that these curses are going to come upon us. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the curses of the Israelites. That is usually the foundation in which we all have come into this truth. We start seeing those curses, Deuteronomy 28, 15 on down. You're like, whoa, who does this apply to? You go through the table of the nations. There's 18 nations. And when you try to plug in the Moab or the Chinese or the Japanese or the Afghanistanian, the Pakistani, you try to plug in any group of people to say, nah, it can't be niggas. Like, it can't be us. Well, that's the first thing we did. We're like, nah, them niggas lying. It definitely can't be us. We're not the Israelites. It has to be the Filipino. It has to be them, the Nigerian. Well, once you plug the curse, plug that nation into those curses, and you may say, okay, well, this nation may have had this hit, but that's up here, strike three. It's not them. And when you go through all 18 or 17 nations, and you're left with just us, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, you find out that there is no other that best fits the curses of the Bible other than the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, aka the Hebrew Israelites or the Israelites, Salaki, the children of Israel. So again, this is another precursor letting you know that these laws is the rule. This is it. You know what I mean? Keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments is the beginning and the end of our success. Right. This is it. Right. You understand? If you could get me 1 John 2 and 4, chapter 2, verse 4. Again, all throughout the Bible, all throughout the New Testament, the law has been emphasized. Keep the law. Keep the law. If you want to love the Lord, keep the law. You obey Christ, keep the law. Christ kept the law. Right. Even to be a so-called Christian, some people say, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus kept the law. Right. You know what I mean? Jesus kept the Passover. Jesus ate the lamb. You know what I mean? Jesus did not eat the ham. Right. You know what I mean? He literally did everything that we're teaching to do. We are the obeyers of Christ. We not just follow, we obey, meaning it is current. There's orders given today that are under Christ that brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K adhere to. It is not a closed book. You understand? It's living. This Bible is a living book. So his word permeates through the elders that were put in position above us, starting at this point with Commandant General YAHANNA. Give him a hand.
Right. Damn right.
And that passes down through the hierarchy, through the generals, captains, the husbands of the wives, and the parents of the children. It's as long as we're in accordance And under the authority and the tutelage of the ISUPK, the word is what permeates, which is of the Most High. It's a living thing. We may get a call, right? And this is what separates us from everyone else. We may get a call and say, hey, we got 3 months, get our affairs in order, pack your stuff up, consolidate your assets, and we're leaving to an unknown territory, right? If you're in a fake Israelite group, you won't get that call. You won't know where to go. But we know something you don't know. You know what I mean? There's not going to be any, well, what the hell? It's going to be Khan, I don't want Khan, and we move. And we move as if Yahweh himself said it in the flesh, because actually he did. You know what I mean? And that's the difference in being a sideline Israelite. You know what I mean? Someone who acknowledges that we are the 12 tribes of Israel, but does not put in their brick, does not get in that one body of Christ, is still in the world, still holding on to Christian ideologies and still celebrating Christmas and standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and voting for presidents and partaking in this world. They're not set apart. They're not holy. They're not separate. You know, they actually still aren't on the side of the Most High. They still believe in Esau. They still believe in the devil, because they can see it. He's here now. You know what I mean? The white man's rule is here. You see him. You see his splendor, his monetary system, his weaponry, his military. You know, you see how he locks people up, his Bureau of Prisons, which we all, you know, a lot of us fear, you know, to have the IRS on our back or have the feds after us, the CIA. You have that fear. Right. You fear that more than you fear the Most High, because you don't see it, right? You don't see him yet. He hasn't laid a finger of punishment yet, or judgment. That hasn't happened yet. So we feeling kind of slick, you know, we feeling like, oh, okay, I can get away. I've been sinning for the past 30 years. You know what I mean? Nothing's going to happen to me if I smoke a little weed. Nothing's going to happen to me if I sneak in my little niece's room and rub up against her at night. Nothing's going to happen to me. You know, if I'm dishonest with my brother, or if I'm sleeping with my brother's wife, you know, we continuously playing because we believe in nothing. You know, Christianity has spoiled the Bible for most of our people. You know, a lot of us have some sense where we look at the people who claim to love God, to love the Bible, and they're some of the most wickedest, vicious, unlawful people we've ever known in life. And when I say Christianity, I'm talking about Islam too. Right. You know what I mean? And so a lot of us who try to be independent, free-spirited thinkers will say, well, I'm just spiritual. Wow. You know, I'm just spiritual. I'm just a good person. I believe in the golden rule. Do unto others as you will have done unto you. That's it. You know, oh, my next door neighbor, you know, his son's, he's now a daughter now. He's now a woman. You know, it's okay. That's their business. You know, oh, he's beating her up and selling drugs to the community. That's their business. As long as they don't stop us from being gay, we don't care about what they do. It sounds like Sodom. Like a brother posted today, Sodom and Gomorrah have nothing on America. Right. You know what I mean? We have a system of tolerance. We tolerate any and every filthy, nasty sin that the Lord specifically stated not to do. Right. And yet, here's the kicker. We do it in the name of the Most High. Right. We do it in the name of the Bible and going to church. You go to these churches now, and it's like a business center. Right. You know, it's big business. It's where people come and feel good. They get a motivational speech. You know, they hire motivational speakers to rile up the troops, or you know, basketball teams, football teams. They'll have a motivational speaker to come in and you know, reinvigorate their psyche to be you know, a team and not individual, and buy into what the coach is saying. And with us doing that, you know, all you do is take a Bible and a suit, and now you have a Christian preacher nowadays. There's really nothing else to it. You show me any Christian preacher today, they're saying the law is done away with. They're saying that you can eat pork as long as you pray over it. You can eat crab, lobster as long as you pray over it. You can be a homosexual and get married in our church, right, which goes against everything in the Bible. And again, when you get married and you think that they're reading from the Bible and saying, what do they say? To have and to hold. And that's not in the Bible. You know what I mean? None of that is in the Bible. We are at this point, where were we at?
We're at Deuteronomy
28:15.
No, we're in 1 John chapter 2.
Did you read the whole thing? We didn't read the whole thing. Let's read the whole thing. Salaki for cutting you off.
No,
let's get it.
The book of 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments.
Hereby we know that we know who?
We know him.
We know the Most High. If we do what?
If we keep his commandments.
We know the Most High if we do what?
Keep his commandments.
If we keep his commandments, that's how we know the Most High. You understand? Here's the problem. You haven't been taught, right? We're trying to bust up Christianity and the mysticism. We're trying to remove your love affair with the pastor and going to church on Sunday, and you somehow think that you're getting closer to the Most High. That, you know what I mean? Your limited knowledge of this Bible has caused you to be in a world of sin. You understand? Read on, brother.
He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar.
Woo! Cold cut.
It's not in him.
Cold cut. Now again, everyone in TV land, what is it now? We in the 2020 is social media land. Salakia. Everybody out there in social media land, do as we did. You know, we didn't just jump right in to the I.S.U.P.K, but have your Christian leader or your Christian aficionado, have him break this down. Have him tell us or tell you what other meaning is behind what was just said here. You know what I mean? If you really are with the Most High, and then you will keep his commandments. Any man that says that he's with the Most High and keep not the commandments is a what?
Is a liar.
He is a liar.
And the truth is not in him.
And the truth is not in him. And where is the truth? Damn right. Give him a hand. That's right. It's in the I.S.U.P.K. By the way, we are the Israelite school of universal and practical knowledge, meaning this Israelite school that we have knowledge that is applicable, that you can practice today. The words that we're saying today, you can take home and change right now. This is the life water. You know what I mean? This is not the dirty water in the John the Baptist pond in the backyard of your church, in the swimming pool, where you go in as a homosexual and you come out as a wet homosexual. No, this life water is just the word. And see, these words reprogram your spirit, and it takes practice. You can have prayer with these scriptures, but you also must apply it with practice, right? Practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect. You understand? So you really need to, number one, humble yourself. Stop thinking you know everything. You can just look at your life and see that you don't. You can just look at how your life has gone for the past 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Look at the hell around you. Look at our communities. Look at our people as a whole. If you care, just look and say, who are the most religious people in America? So-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. You know what I mean? Who claim to love God more than any other group of people? Because when you see so-called white Christians, they're the most violent. You know, they will say God bless America, but they will get guns and kill your family to save their nation. But black people will kill each other. You know, we'll crip up, blood up, whatever we do. We'll be in any of Hispanic gangs or whatever. And But yet when it comes to the Most High, when it actually comes to living the law, we don't, because we have Stockholm syndrome. We have taken on the characteristics, the customs and traditions of the person or the people that have oppressed us, right? We find great pride and joy in mimicking and imitating our oppressor. Case in point, you go to a slave job for people in what is it called again? Social media land. You go to a job interview. The first thing we do, we get our white voice. We start talking nasally, right? And you try to appease to them. You show how non-masculine you are, or how kind and what do they call it when they the black women? What do they do to their hair? What is it called though? They relax it, right? Because when they see our natural hair, it's strong. They see that woolly hair that we have. It's intimidating, and that's how we are, men and the sisters of the nation of Israel. We have a certain strength, a certain swag about us, and when we try to interact with so-called Esau and get an advantage, when we're trying to get a job or get some type of assistance, the first thing we do is we lighten our voice. Hey, how are you? Oh, hi, how are you? I'm Bill. I'm great. Oh, okay. Do you do any drugs? Oh, no, sir, not at all. Never. Right. Oh, okay. How do you feel about Donald Trump? Oh, Donald Trump's great. Oh, no, he's great. Oh, okay. We appease. And this is by design. They know good and well that we don't agree with a lot of things that we so-called agree with. We bend over for our oppressor in order to so-called fit in order to so-called no longer take the brunt of the oppression. If we can get a good job and get a good credit score and be able to live in a nice community, sometimes you'll give up a sense of blackness, a sense of your own pride and integrity, but not here in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right, that's right.
Are we done on that? Let's get it then.
And this is Colonel Khan, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 5. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily I say, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him.
Most High in Christ. And again, where this is perfected, where we are perfected, is right here. I.S.U.P.K, right. The home of the truth, right. Under commanding General YAHANNA, right. The 12 tribes of Israel, the nation of Israel. That is where we have perfected it. In this school, since 1969, we have tried and tested, and yet obeyed the tenets and the law, statutes, and commandments that were laid before us. And as the generations and the decades go by, we've almost mastered it to where it's clockwork. You know what I mean? And that's what we're doing. We're trying to establish and reestablish this nation of Israel, but starting with the law. Without the law, we will have lawlessness. We will have anarchy. Without the law, we will have a lot of selfishness, which will counteract brotherhood. In the I.S.U.P.K, you will not find any better place to be in this time if you are one of the Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. Okay, and that's just these are just the scriptures that are speaking on how we must keep the law, why we must keep the law, and that God is saying so, and that Yahawashi is saying so. Right. So again, if you are a follower of Christ, that means you so-called walk the life that he walks, right? So for the Christians out there, you say you believe in Jesus, you follow Jesus, then how do we know you follow Jesus? You understand? It's not just that there was a strange man in a strange land from a long time ago, and there's no record of how he lived. There is a record of how he lived. Right. He spoke it. And he spoke it in so many instances that we find it very offensive that you're still teaching that the law is done away with. because we know it's in black and white, red and blue. It's right there in the scriptures. So what else then? You might as well say throw the Bible out then. You know, let's do some new Scientology religion. But you're going to stop claiming this Bible. We're going to run you up out of this Bible. The I.S.U.P.K is going to run you up out of claiming to even believe in this Bible. You're going to find some new falsified religious belief and hang on to that, because see, we won't touch it. We don't know nothing about it. We don't know nothing about Nuwabianism and we don't know nothing about whatever y'all got. That's your thing. And we'll watch you destroy yourself. We'll watch you sin and rape and molest children. We'll watch you get locked up for 99 years. We'll watch you chop heads off of fake members in your group. Every leader of every group has failed, right? Except ours, the I.S.U.P.K. That's right. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. Number one, YAHANNA still here, rocking. And under his leadership and under his guidance, we have the I.S.U.P.K. We have Commander General YAHANNA still rocking. Right. Flawless record. You understand? All right. You done with that? Kind of. All right. Let's get, if you could, 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. Timothy chapter 4, kind of.
Hold on. This the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in later times some shall depart.
Now stop. In a later time, right?
That's right.
What we say, what was written before time is for our learning, right?
That's right.
So now the Bible is talking about a later time, meaning time we in now. Let's read.
That in latter times some shall depart from the faith.
Some shall depart from the faith. Read on.
Giving heed to seducing spirits.
Woo! Giving heed. The word heed means to listen. We're giving heed to seducing spirits. Now, what does it mean to be seduced? What does a seducing spirit do? What is their agenda? What does a seducing spirit do? Yanazar. Against who? Most High in Christ. Give him a hand.
That's right. Yeah, right.
The art of seduction was one of the methods in which the man in the garden, that the serpent used against Eve.
Right.
He seduced her. Right. Seduction is a way in which you know what a person wants and you give them just a little bit. It's like a tug of war. You give them a little bit and then they let you in a little bit. They get a little something. And then you give them a little more, then you get a little more. You know what I mean? And that's how it's kind of like back in. Well, I ain't gonna go into that. That's some streets, but that life is over. The old man is dead. But anyway, the serpent seduced Eve, right? And this is what we call a seducing spirit. Read on.
Some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
Again, giving in the seducing spirit, they should depart from the faith. Now, we already know that story, right? We got many brothers that came in to the I.S.U.P.K, right? And because the so-called split, as they say, you know, there was a split, as they say, right? And so that prompted them to go and start another 3-letter organization in which they spawned 20 3-letter organizations. They departed from the faith. Read on.
Speaking lies
in
hypocrisy.
Read on.
Having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Having their conscience seared with a hot iron. Read on.
Forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats.
Now stop. Hold that. Forbidding to marry. Now, being married is lawful, right? This is one of the things that the seducing spirits are doing. And this is what was foreshadowed to today, what's happening now. All right. Forbidding us to marry and what?
And commanding to abstain from meats.
Now, abstaining from meats. Now, what meats? Read on.
Which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving.
Now, stop right there. So these seducing spirits are trying to convince us to be hypocrites. We lie, right? To leave the truth, right? Not even to get married. Marriage is a man, right, in a union with a woman, right, of the same nation in Israel, right? But what do? They want a man to be with the man. Right. A woman on the island of Lesbos, where we get lesbian from. Right. They want women to be with women, right? This is what these seducing spirits are doing, right? They're seducing us into a world up toppled and upside down from what the Most High wanted. You understand? So again, one of those outside of marriage is abstaining from the meat, right? That he deemed to be what?
To abstain from meats which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
Again, again lets you know that there is a meat that the Lord did allow and authorize and want us to have as Thanksgiving. But a lot of Christians try to use this to say, oh, we can eat anything. But what are the meats that are given to be Thanksgiving? Let's get Leviticus chapter 11 and 44, verse 44.
Leviticus 11 and 44. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse 44. For I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Again, the Most High is now going in to what he allows and what he disallows, what's clean, what's unclean. Let's get 11 and 47, Leviticus chapter 11, verse 47.
Leviticus chapter 11, verse 47. To make a difference between the unclean and the clean.
Again, the clean and the unclean. Throughout this Bible, or in the first 5 books, is talking about rules and regulations. All right, read on.
And between the beasts that may be eaten and the beasts that may not be eaten.
Now, if we don't want to follow it, throw the Bible out. You know what I mean? It's in here for a reason. Some of you just want to go to the New Testament, but we've already gone to the New Testament and showed you. In fact, drop that for 1 second. Go to Matthew 5 and 17, Baba Kashab. We show you, wherever you try to run to, you say, that's the Old Testament. We believe in the New Testament. Okay, no sweat. We'll go right to what you believe. Let's see what Yahweh Jesus says about the Old Testament. Let's go.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
The Most High said, Salakia, Yahweh says, think not, the next part,
that I am come to destroy the law.
He did not come to destroy the law. Now, if he did, he would say, I come to destroy the law. What did he do? Read on, Salaki.
Or the prophets.
Or the prophets, right? The prophets that were in the Old Testament. So when you see as it was written, it's referring to the Old Testament. Read on. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. He did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And what was his fulfillment? Anybody in class or online? What did Yahweh fulfill? Yanazar, Officer Yanazar.
What he fulfilled was he fulfilled this portion of the law, or he showed that the law, that you can do the law, that you can be perfect and do the law, as a human being, as a man.
Give that brother a hand.
That's right.
Excellent. Yahweh he fulfilled the law, which was to give Israel a second chance. He showed us he's basically saying, do as I do. And we're going to open up schools and we're going to teach you. We're going to re-educate you, right? If you notice, Esau, their system is when you go to a slavery, a job, or you're just a young child, they're big on education. You understand that, your body doesn't lead without the mind. The mind leads the body. And so what's in your head, they program. They send you to school. They give you knowledge or a core education. And that's supposed to see what type of, what options you would have as you grow. They may find that you may be a genius, or you may be good at computer work or whatever. But whatever it is, education is the forefront as far as the disciplines that dictate how a society goes. When Japan was bombed with the atomic bomb, what was it, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and instead of them, the way they fought back is they sent their offspring to school, to the best schools. They were big on education, became one of the number one producers of highly advanced technological innovations in robotics, right? And so they have a major influence in society because of their education and their ability to produce, like Sony and PlayStation. Sony PlayStation comes from Japan, right. And then you have various other Japanese innovations and auto technology, automobiles, was it Datsun, Nissan, right. Toyota, so forth and so on. So they use education as their platform to catapult them in the as a small little island country. They did that with education. That's why education is important. One of the major things they look at, psychiatrists or psychologists look at when they have a troubled teen or in the criminal world, when you first go in for processing or pre-trial processing or something like that, they basically go over your education. They want to see what grade did you. They take all the analytics and they pretty much find that people who are in impoverished homes have poor education, are more susceptible to committing crime. So education is very important to a society or a nation of people. Right now, when YAHANNA is stating that he did not come to destroy the law, he came to show us by example, but it wasn't just Jesus or YAHANNA. And I say Jesus so the people out there would know who I'm talking about. He also taught men, right? He had disciples, and those men followed him, and those men learned from him, and he taught them to go out and teach men. And this was supposed to be a domino effect. That education process that you learn, the life water of the scriptures pertaining to the law and how to live the law, is what YAHANNA did. He was the example of how to be a brother, of how to show brotherhood. You know what I mean? So 5:17 says, "Think not that I've come to destroy the law. I have not come to destroy, I've not come to destroy, but to fulfill." That's right. That again is another cut to the Christians saying that we just believe in Jesus. He's our personal Lord and Savior. We don't follow the Old Testament. Well, if you follow Christ, you follow the Old Testament. If you were to follow Moses, knew Moses, you would have known YAHANNA. You understand? You would have known Jesus. He stated it out of his mouth. All right. Let's go to we now at the beast, right? So let's get Leviticus chapter 11, verse 4. Did we do that already or live?
We did Leviticus chapter 11, verse 4. We did that already. We did the swine, but we didn't do this.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 11, and verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
Now, doesn't that make sense? The camel, the horse, those animals are best suited for travel. Camels best suited for travel over sandy, hilly areas. Horses for flat, plain land, right? Could you imagine eating a horse? It makes sense. It really makes sense. And the Lord already knew this. He gave us the descriptions. He gave us signs in this Bible that describe what is edible, what we should eat, and what we should not eat. All right. Let's go to Leviticus 11, verse 7.
This The book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you.
Now, some of you may say, what is the cud? Basically, when you have an animal that can eat grass, the grass can be very malleable. It has a collagen-like texture in which the goat or the sheep or animal that eats it chews it and digests it, and then they regurgitate it back up and they chew it again. That is now called cud. This is what a pig does not do. You know what I mean? A pig cannot chew the cud. He cannot regurgitate and chew it again and swallow. But this is what goats, lamb, deer, this is what they do. They regurgitate the indigested grass, which has by means of photosynthesis has a lot of nutrients in it, right? Which is actually good. A lot of us have what spirulina or wheatgrass. We found various benefits in these grasses. The animals that we're allowed to eat, the Lord has them as clean. You know what I mean? In their natural state. I'm not talking about in a perverted state. You may have some animals that may eat fecal matter or things that, but they're not in their natural habitat. But in a natural habitat, these animals will eat grass, and that's enough for them. Right. Horses usually eat dry grass, hay, stuff like that. But for the most part, when we eat these animals, they're clean. When they're in a natural state, when Israel is on top, these animals will be pure, pure and clean to eat. But imagine eating a lion. You're eating an animal that is eating gazelles and monkeys and all kind of other nasty things that they eat nasty things. So it's a cycle of filth in eating a lion, and plus, again, they have a duty as a predator to, keep the certain population. If not, there'll be gazelles everywhere. You know what I mean? So the Lord again knew what he was doing. Are you done with that?
Sir.
All right, read on.
Of their flesh, Salakia, the book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse 8. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcasses shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you.
They are unclean to you, over and over throughout this Bible. Let's get Psalm 119. Verse 142. They are unclean to you. The Bible is saying they are unclean to you. The Bible is saying that the unclean animal is unclean to you. Ye shall not eat. Here's what you can eat. The animal with the split hoof, right? That cheweth the cud. He's giving you what you can eat. And these are just the land animals. We'll get into the ocean or the water animals next time. If we have time, we might get into a little bit. But right now, we're just trying to show you that bacon you love so much, that pork bacon, that ham sandwich, that sausage, that, barbecue, all of those things that you eat with pride, and you get mad at the table when someone, oh, you don't eat meat? Oh, what? You don't want chitlins? Oh, what, you Muslim now? Oh, man, you better come over and eat some of this pork. Got them eyes all red around the whites of their eye from the trichina worms that you get from that type of animal, because it has parasites living. The pig has parasites, the trichina parasites living in it to keep it healthy. And they're these nasty worms. Now you may cook it at a high temperature. The thing you don't know is when that temperature goes down, they regenerate. They will right back, and then that's why you have arthritis in your elbow, in your knees. They form these little nests, and they have babies, and they wrap around your knees, and all. They live around your joints. They love the cartilage area. You understand? That's why you have all rheumatoid arthritis and rickets and all kinds of ailments that you attribute to just being old. That's not it, though. You don't necessarily. It's coming from the eras of living. You know what I mean? Or disobeying the Most High that you claim to love so much. Are you ready? I'm ready for that.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 119, and verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
The law is the what?
Thy law is the truth.
If you ever had a question about what is the truth, being in the truth, this is it right here. Read it again.
Khan, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
Damn right. Read on.
Trouble and anguish have taken hold on me, yet thy commandments are my delights.
Most High in Christ. Read
That's
on.
right. Verse 144, the righteousness of thy testimonies is everlasting. Give me understanding, and I shall live.
With this understanding that we're teaching in these classes, we're enabling you to live in this lifetime and the next. Read on.
Khan, verse 145, I cried with my whole heart. Hear me, O Lord. I will keep thy statutes. I cried unto thee, save me, and I shall keep thy testimonies. I prevented the dawning of the morning and cried, I hoped in thy word. Verse 148, my eyes prevent the night. Watch, Salakia, my eyes prevent the night watches, that I might meditate in thy word.
Again, like I stated earlier, when you're in these classes, when you're in this truth, you seek counsel, right? You get counsel, and as you study the Bible, not just read it, but some people, I read the whole Bible. Okay. Right. That's not impressive. I mean, that's cool. We all can read, but it's a matter of allowing these scriptures to take hold of you, to allow them to embody you to where you are now a new individual. You know how you see people in mental hospital and you see Tyrone, he's a paranoid schizophrenic. It looks like Tyrone, but you see that something's taken hold of him. He's possessed. You know what I mean? He's doped up or whatever. A lot of these guys committing these crimes or these fake wannabe so-called shooters, they get high off of the whatever lean or whatever they on, and they go out and they bugged out their mind and killing a 4-year-old girl in the living room, trying to shoot at some rival gang member. It's called possession. That's another way of being born again per se, or being made into a new wicked creature with drug intoxication, or spiritual, or having some type of spiritual ailment, right, such as paranoid schizophrenia or some type of personality disorder that goes untreated. In the I.S.U.P.K, we treat it. That's right. All day. We'll take the sick, we'll take the deranged, the lunatics, because that's all that's in here. You understand? And you wouldn't know it, but we have been reformed through the tutelage of Commander General YAHANNA, right, under Yahawashi HaMashiach, right, following these laws, statutes, and commandments. We've been able to overcome the ailments of this world. You know what I mean? And it starts with obeying, following the law. It starts with correction. You come in here, hey, sit down. Oh, take your hat off. Put something over your head. Getting all black. Hey, take the trash out. That's the first thing. You know what I mean? And after that, you start to hone yourself or be forged into a new being. And so here in Psalm 119, 142 and on down, it's showing that Israel knew the truth and the law. It's showing how we're pleading and pleading. So like I was saying earlier, you have to practice. You can't just pray. Oh, Lord Jesus, please. I want Shantae to graduate from college. Oh, Lord. I mean, if you eating pork chops, he's not going to hear you. He doesn't hear us sinners. You understand? You have to pray for what the Most High wants. The Most High, instead of you praying for Shantae to graduate, pray for yourself to stop eating that swine. You understand? That's what he wants you to do. Stop molesting your child. Stop breaking into people's houses. Stop bullying people at school. You understand? Like, become a model citizen, become a decent individual, become a person worthy of forgiveness. You know what I mean? All right, let's drop that. Let's get Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15.
Come on.
Again, This is all about that swan. This is all about the pork, all unlawful food. And there's other unlawful food out there like possum, orangutan, people.
Right.
So another thing is when you say the law is done away with, that means we can eat babies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That means we can eat you. You got to watch what you say.
Right.
All right, let's get that.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind.
Now we know in Revelation, Yahawashi is returning, and he's not returning with daffodils, right? We pretty much, most of us know, conspiracy theorists know, science fiction aficionados know that Jesus is returning back. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that. We just don't, we think it's going to happen when we not around. Read on.
Kanawakan, to render his anger with fury.
To render his anger with fury. Read on.
And his rebuke with flames of fire.
Flames of fire he shall rebuke. Read on.
Verse 16. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
This sounds horrible. Are you sure you want to eat that bacon burger? Are you sure? Read on.
Kanawakan, they that sanctify themselves
that sanctify themselves. Read on.
And purify themselves in the gardens behind.
Hold up. Do you feel that? Do you feel who he's talking about? Read that part again. Go up a little bit.
Kanawakan, the book of Isaiah, chapter 66.
Listen who he's talking about.
In the bottom of verse 16.
This is the whole Christian community. Every Christian I know. Read.
Kanawakan, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. They that sanctify themselves.
That sanctify themselves. Not in here where you're sanctified by the work, by the men above you, where you are observed and examined. Right? Read on.
Kanawakan, and purify themselves.
You purified yourself. You go to church and you tell everybody you sanctify. You tell everybody you're a good person, but nobody sees the work. How do you know? You a general of a fake Israelite group. Who made you the general?
Right.
Huh? You a captain of what? Who made you that? Right. How do we know that you're in the truth? How do we know? Read on.
Kanawakan, that purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh.
Eating what?
Swine's flesh.
Why not chicken? Why not an apple like you claim Eve bit? Why does this Bible emphasize swine? Huh? Read it again.
Kanawakan, and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh.
Eating swine's flesh. Read on.
And the abomination.
And the abomination.
And the mouse.
The mouse
shall be consumed together, saith the Lord.
They shall all be consumed together, saith the Lord. You understand? The Lord is against your Piggly Wiggly.
Right.
The Lord is against your Porky Pig. Right. The Lord is against your Miss Piggy. Right. The Lord is against your barbecue, with the Texas Pete. The Lord is against your souse and crackling and hog foreheads and hog mogs and rump and Boston butt ham and pig feet and any other nasty thing you can do. We had our babies die for not eating pork, right? In the Maccabees, right? We had our people die because they refused to eat this nasty pig flesh that you claim to stand on. The Lord is showing you over and over and over not to eat it. The Bible is stating it. Christ is saying, keep the law. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. Drop that. Let's get Deuteronomy 14:4. Salakia 21:7. Let's because time is almost up.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21 and verse 7. And they shall answer and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it.
Read on.
Verse 8, be merciful, O Lord, unto thy people Israel, whom thou hast redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto thy people of Israel's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven them.
Read on.
Verse 9. So shalt thou put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord.
Again, we as a nation have an obligation to do what is right at the sight of the Lord. Israel knows. Go ahead. Yeah, we knew the truth. We continue to break the law. And as we broke the law, that's why we ended up in this hellhole. That's why we end up in this captivity, right? Many of you try to say that, the Lord did away with the law. We can eat swine as long as we pray over it. Some of you even say that in Acts 10:10, I think Peter's vision when Cornelius, the centurion, was coming, that was a vision of, you can eat pork. But it states later down that it was talking about a person. It's talking about people. It wasn't it was talking about actually the Gentiles who were the Israelites that lived amongst the other nations. At a time, we considered them Gentiles. They were unclean to us. They weren't down like we were down. They weren't from Jerusalem. You know what I mean? And so that vision was to show that, no, these are still your people. Even just as we call ourselves Americans today, you know what I mean, or British today in the UK, we live in amongst the people that enslaved us. Yet, by blood, we are the nation of Israel.
Right.
By blood, we are the Lord's chosen people. And by blood, we will come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments under commanding General YAHANNA and the I.S.U.P.K. And with that, plastic class to Officer Yanazar.
Security announcement. We are the I.S.U.P.K. out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are to shed themselves of the world. They are here to shed themselves of the world. Salakia. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18 and 21 and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or teacher.
So 10%, that means if you make $100, you get a school $10. Right?
Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. probably the holiest of all the convocations is the Passover.
Damn right.
That's going to take place in Houston, Texas on April 24th at, what is it, 14149?
That's right, 14149
Player Street, Houston, Texas. All of Israel is invited. Please pay your $200 Passover fund, please.
Give them the phone number. Everybody's invited. If you need to make transportation accommodations, please contact Captain I.S.U.P.K. You got that number?
240-408 034. That's Captain 2034. Let me repeat it again out of one. 240-408 2034. That's Captain I.S.U.P.K.
Damn, that sound like the lottery number.
Okay.
We don't got that.
Come together, Israel, at this Passover, man. Let's move forward. Okay. Remind Akim and Akwatium to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K. events and materials. And of course, we implore you to watch Black Watch. Number 1, Black Watch on Mondays with Commanding General YAHANNA and the generals and other guests. To me, it's like mandatory to me. I can't miss it.
Right.
You understand? And also we have Cross the Line Radio. We have what is it from the Matrix?
Unplugged from the Matrix.
Unplugged from the Matrix here in Durham. And we have the other I.S.U.P.K. radio. And there's other I.S.U.P.K. media that you can tune into for updates and for information pertaining to the school. Okay? If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, a majim, that means the brothers,